I'm in. I'm into it. Hello and welcome to the channel. Please excuse the TV in the background. We leave the TV on for my dog whenever we leave to help her anxiety. But welcome back. It's nice to see y'all. It's me. And today's probably pretty long, I'm not sure at this point, reading vlog. I'm gonna be reading ACOTAR for the first time. I'm so excited. Well, to be honest, I've already read some of this. I'm starting the vlog a little late, so I'll go ahead and update you with my thoughts so far. But yes, I've never read ACOTAR before. I just read the Kingdom of the Wicked series not that long ago, and it's got me in this fantasy series mood, like YA fantasy, new adults fantasy, that sort of thing. And I know several people that have read the series and absolutely love it. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and tell you my thoughts so far just to get this vlog going. I have a feeling it's gonna be a long one because I know I'm gonna want to talk about this a lot. Let it be known there will be spoilers in this vlog, of course. I'm going to take you through my journey reading this, my reactions, my specific experience and thoughts. So yes, this little portion right now, I'm just gonna talk about the beginning. Just know there will be spoilers at some time, but if you've already read the series, please let me know down below. Let me know what you think. Please like this video, of course, if you love the series. I know I'm gonna wanna talk about this like nonstop. So if you wanna talk about ACOTAR, please comment below, or my DMs are always open. All right, so excuse me if there's a lot of pauses. I have taken notes, so if there's some pauses here and there, that's why. ACOTAR. Initially, I thought we were following a fairy, going to be in this fantasy fairy land, and we're following a fairy. I did not think we would be following her sisters or her family or anything like that. I definitely did not think she was a human. So already I'm very surprised at how the story is setting up. I haven't enough so far to know about the world. I'm at the part where Feyre is discovering the world for the first time. She goes into the library and she sees the map, and so she knows of the land finally. So I love the seasonal aspect. I've seen people talk about courts before, like summer court, night court, that sort of thing. I just didn't know it was every season and also every time of day as well. The only time of day that is not on the map is Twilight. At least like in my head, I always think of Twilight because obviously I'm a Twilight fan. So that's one thing I think may come into the future, maybe having like a Twilight court. By the way, let me just go ahead and say I am one of those people that constantly comes up with theories when I'm reading a book. I predict things all the time, so do not be surprised if I predict a lot of this book. It's probably gonna happen just because my mind goes wild when I'm reading fantasy books. I'm just like, oh, this could happen, that could happen. So it's been fun so far, like theorizing, since I know nothing about the world yet. But that is one theory I have, is a Twilight court coming into play, I guess. If you haven't read the book, please click off, because I'm gonna talk about something I was spoiled for in this series, so I don't want to spoil you, but I was spoiled that there is no treaty. I saw a TikTok randomly where someone was reading it for the first time and was like, there's no treaty. So I know as soon as they started talking about a treaty, I already knew that there wasn't a treaty. Sad enough. But I was told by a friend that that's really not a huge deal. I will say I keep getting reminded of Kingdom of the Wicked throughout this book. I'm just noticing a lot of similar tropes that I'll talk about later on in case any more come up, but I just read the series obviously, and the second book is just reminding me so much of this first book. But one thing I really can't understand is why Feyre is so okay with being a prisoner. Like, she wasn't at first, and with her personality, like, I can tell why she wouldn't be, but she has slowly become okay with being a prisoner and just isn't questioning it anymore. So I just obviously don't know what's going on. I'm still like in the midst of things, like learning about things, and I just can't figure out why she's not questioning being a prisoner anymore, and why she's not like fighting for her family, since that is like her top priority. I can tell her and Tamlin are definitely gonna be a thing, like that's definitely her boo, but there's no hints to that yet. Like, there's not a lot of love or tension and stuff really at all. They start out not liking each other really at all. He doesn't like humans, she doesn't like Fae, so maybe it's gonna be hate to love, but I just feel like I've read enough of their interactions to be like confused to why there's no like hints to their love yet. And yeah, those are kind of my thoughts so far. I am enjoying it. Like, I'm not enjoying it. It's just like okay for me, I guess, right now. Like, I do like the characters, I like the world, so I'm definitely intrigued and I'm gonna keep reading. But it's just like, I just feel like so-so, you know, like just like whatever. But obviously I'm still getting used to things, and I'm a very slow first half reader. As soon as I hit the middle of a book, I will read the rest of the book in like an hour or like a day. Like it goes from 0 to 100 for me. So we'll see where it goes. I'll take you through more of my thoughts, like specifically while they're happening throughout the rest of the vlog, but I kind of already read like a fifth or like a sixth of the book, so we'll see what happens. All right, so I read a little more and the sun is going down, so I need to make this quick. I forgot earlier that I didn't really say anything about her family. Not like big fans of her family, to be honest. Her dad can rot for all I care. And her sisters, basically she has one that's really big Leo energy, or Capricorn, I guess, but she's just very blunt, she speaks her mind, very brave, doesn't care about what people think of her, that sort of thing. And then she has a sister that is the complete opposite, who's very timid and more shy and more just like gentle and fragile. I have a feeling, I'm pretty sure the sisters will become more involved in the story, so I do have a theory. Now that I've met Lucian. I'm trying to say Lucian, but I've said Lucian the entire time thus far. I'm also, just so you know, I'm gonna say Rysan instead of Rhysand, because I just can't get myself to say Rhysand. It just doesn't, I don't know why she spelled it like that, because it literally looks like Rhysand. I feel like there needs to be love interest for them. So my theory is one of them, I'm gonna guess Elaine, ends up with Lucian because he needs a good girl. He's been making fun of Feyre a lot, which has been annoying me, but I just know they're gonna have a friendship because him and Tamlin are pretty close, and I just have a feeling her and Tamlin are gonna get close, so I just have this feeling that they're gonna form this friendship. So I think Elaine will end up with him, and then I don't think we've met Nesta's love interest, because I feel like she's gonna be with someone that's more equal to her, you know, like a High Lord or something, I don't know, but that's my theory for that. So I'm at the part where Feyre is trying to speak to the Suriel, and basically Lucian doesn't give her enough information or tell her exactly what to do, which is very suspicious. He wants her to die, or he has something out for humans or something like that. I don't know. I still do think they're gonna be friends, but like I don't get why he was doing that, or if he just doesn't understand that she's a human. I'm also very confused how she's like an accidental badass. Basically, we're being taught that she's a badass, but not one on like purpose. And I just don't get that. Like usually when you follow these female heroines, they like know they're badasses. Like she's constantly questioning herself. She's definitely brave. Like I would definitely say she's a Gryffindor, but I just don't understand, like, you know, she accidentally kills this fairy, and now she's accidentally killed the Naga, I think is what they're called, and she ends up trapping the Suriel and put in these really dangerous bad situations, and she always ends up on top, if you know what I mean. So I just don't understand what the vibe is there. Like why her character is just like this accidental badass, I guess. Or like she's a badass, but like not a good one, if that makes sense. I'm starting to just get more annoyed with the boys because they just keep teasing her and making fun of her. And I just don't get it. Like, are we just touching on the fairy versus human aspect? I just don't get it. It's starting to annoy me how much they're making fun of her. Like my feminist side is coming out. It's weird because I still like Tamlin, but I'm just getting really annoyed. It just feels like she's something to play with. If they're not like serious about her or like being her friend, like why is she there? I don't know if there's an underlying thing here. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know where it's going. I don't get where it's going. It feels slow but doesn't at the same time. Like I feel like things are happening fast, it's just like not a lot, and we're getting introduced to all these different dangerous creatures. I feel like very scared of the world for her, but also not, because she's supposed to be an accidental badass. I don't know if this is on purpose, but I feel a lot for her. I feel like she's alone in this situation. But yeah, again, just feeling so. I wish more was happening with her and Tamlin, to be honest. I feel like there's one or two more hints where he's like trying with her, but I need more. I need more from him. I know I'm gonna like him. I'm okay with him, but like I need more. All right, excuse the horrid lighting. I just have my reading lamp on. I guess I could show you guys my reading lamp real quick. It's a real like modern, sleek design, you know what I'm saying? I did have a code. If I can find that code, it's probably on an old video. I will link it down below for you guys. I can't remember how much it was either, but it's amazing. It's literally so big, it's so long, and it's super adjustable, and it's literally, I read with it every night. It's amazing. Anyways, before I get too ahead of myself, I'm at the part where it's upside down. The riot has happened, and we're kind of like in the aftermath of the riot. So we finally got a little steaminess, I guess. Not really true smut, of course, but there was a little bit of tension, and we now know, all the characters know, that Tamlin does have a thing for Feyre. On Feyre's end, she hasn't really come to the realization that I feel like us as readers are coming to at this point, where it's like, okay, he definitely does have something for her and everyone knows about it, but for some reason Feyre doesn't know about it. She's been having these feelings like kind of build up slowly for him, but she's just not really communicating anything. I don't think Feyre knows much of anything, if at all, about love, so it's totally understandable. I don't know, sometimes I kind of wonder about the writing, I guess. Like, sometimes it just feels like we go through things so fast that I can't even like really understand the world because we're going so fast, and I just feel like maybe this book was just, you know, written, what, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever. The writing is just a little, not immature, because everything else about the books I love, and I don't think that's immature, but yeah, I think the writing's just a little immature, but I'm hoping the series just like gets better. It feels like dialogue, like the author really knows how to write dialogue, but just doesn't know how to write when things are actually happening, if that makes sense. But anyways, the riot has happened. I'm a little grossed out about the whole thing, I'm not gonna lie. The whole thing with Tamlin. Like, I like Tamlin, but he is just always making fun of her and messing with her with Lucien, and then now he's out here having sex with other girls, like, but he wanted it to be her, but is saying that it couldn't be her because she wasn't there, even though he's the one that told her not to be there. Whenever she was found out of being there, she then got in trouble for being there. So it feels like she's just a prisoner. She's literally a prisoner, and she just like doesn't really realize it. It feels a little problematic, I'm not gonna lie. If you are, you know, a TikTok book talk person you don't know, I wouldn't say Sarah J Maas has been canceled in the past, but her books have definitely been talked about as being like problematic, how she's like a problematic author. I hate when people talk about that. I don't care about the problematic stuff. I'm a big Twihard. I haven't said that in forever, but I'm a big Twilight fan. So obviously I'm okay with problematic or toxic relationships, reading about them, because they're not real. But I can definitely see, like, obviously I haven't met Rhysand yet, and I know that's going to be a whole thing. I'm just looking at my notes here, but I'm just a little grossed out by the whole thing, but I'm also happy that it's more known that there is a thing, or is going to be a thing between them. I knew she was meeting Rhysand at the riot, of course. She was talking about how, like, he was so dark, creepy, evil vibe, and like, you know, like darkness swallowed him and all this stuff. So fairies were about to do some bad things. They were going to torment her or whatever was going to happen, and he kind of saved her. So I have a feeling that's how this relationship is going to be, where it's like toxic and problematic, but he also is like protective of her and saving her at the same time, which sounds a lot like Belle and Edward, if I'm being honest. I wrote down that I have a theory that Rhysand, or maybe like in more general terms the Night Court, because I'm pretty sure he's going to be the Night Court, is causing the blight, since they aren't affected. So basically when she saw him, he didn't have a mask, and there were several fairies that didn't have a mask, so pretty sure only the Spring Court is the ones that are wearing the mask from the masquerade when the blight happened. So Rhysand has something to do with it, or the Night Court does, or the girl they're talking about does, because they keep talking about whoever the girl is, or if that's, I don't know exactly what it is, but I just think that is what is causing the blight. So Feyre and Tamlin finally have their first kiss. Yes, finally. I absolutely loved the solstice, the summer solstice chapter. The lighting in this video is going to be the death of me, and I'm really tired right now, so I'm gonna try to get through this quickly so that I can go to bed. But really enjoyed the summer solstice chapter. I'm a summer baby. I absolutely love summer. I've always romanticized it, so I obviously really like that chapter. And I just feel all the feelings for them. Like, I just think they're so cute, and it was just such a cute chapter. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw I just shared the picture I took of this book. The very end of the solstice chapter, I included as the second picture because I just loved it so much. Even more stuff happened. Rhysand appeared, or Rhysand. Excuse my pronunciation. I'm gonna continue to pronounce that wrong. But Amarantha is the girl they've been talking about. I have a feeling I'm gonna like Amarantha. I know she's probably gonna be the villain, but I love when villains are females. When there's like a strong, powerful female villain, like there's nothing more than I love than that. Like I really love Catherine from The Vampire Diaries, for example. Rhysand gives me Aro vibes from Twilight too. Like he's just coming off very dark, mysterious, almost vampire-esque, but almost like in a playful way, I guess. But still like creepy and dark and evil, and but also very intrigued with people, like how he is with Feyre. I don't know. He's giving me Aro vibes for sure. But I'm at a very good part. A lot of things are happening. I don't know where it's gonna go from here, but right now they finally had their first kiss, and then Rhysand appeared and it started to get more intense. So I think we're like working towards the climax, which I'm really excited about. I am just happy that things are finally happening. Hello. I feel like the brightness is really high right now. I'm right in front of a window, so I look super pale. But I just want to hop on here real quick and give some thoughts about what I've been reading. I've been reading the climactic part of the book, and I've been really enjoying it. Excuse me if I sound a little rough. I'm a little sick right now, but I've been really enjoying it. So the clips you probably just saw were from my recent trip to Washington State, the other side of the country for me. I'm located in Nashville, Tennessee. It was amazing, but I read a bunch on the way there. It was actually a red eye, so I read at first and then I got super tired and had to stop reading, but I did not want to because I have been loving the second half of this book, especially, you know, climactic part. So I have some notes I wrote down. I feel like this is kind of all over the place at this point, to be honest, because I've just read so much and I'm almost finished with it. Actually, I only have, I think, like 5 or 6 chapters left, so I just need to read it. I don't even want to finish it, to be honest. But let me just tell you, like, I'm in. I'm into it. Basically right when the trials started, and then, you know, we're basically like going through the first trials. I'm like, all right, I'm in now. You can consider me an ACOTAR fan at this point. Definitely, you know, it's been up and down a little bit. I've been moody, of course. I am a moody, you know, reader in general. I've been enjoying it. I really have. I really do like it. It's probably gonna get a good rating from me, but I'll let you know at the end of the video what the rating is, of course. I mean, the first half of the book was definitely just a slower pace, but I do like the time we slowly spent with Feyre and Tamlin. I understand what the point of the first half of the book was now, but the second half of the book, I've just been, you know, reading it like crazy. I wrote, "It was all a lie and there's a prophecy!" 3 exclamation points. So yeah, obviously I already knew that the treaty was a lie, but I did not know there is basically a prophecy, or well, there's a curse, of course, but there's basically, it feels like a prophecy because it said that, you know, Feyre was involved in some way. So basically Amarantha put this curse on Tamlin, which then like puts a curse on the Spring Court to find a human, and it was all a setup. But you know what, at first I felt a little betrayed, but then I was like, okay, there was no way they could tell her. Honestly, like with how Feyre is and her personality, like it was just fate, you know what I mean? So I wasn't mad that Feyre wasn't like too mad about it. And of course, I just love the chapter so much where she goes back and Alice is telling her about everything. Like, I was just eating it up on the plane. I wrote, cringing at it all and missed Tamlin. Love the chapter where Alice explains things. Knew the treaty was a lie, but didn't expect there to be a curse. I did not predict a curse or like this prophecy type of thing with Feyre. I wrote down another theory. I have a theory that Feyre is meant to be high fae status or something of the sort. I originally thought she's supposed to be the mortal high lady, but I think she'll end up at the Night Court there's more to the prophecy, so I think it's one of those, or that if Tamlin succeeds, Feyre would have been a queen or something similar. So I definitely think Feyre is supposed to be something big, at least like for the story and the world. Like, what would be the point of Feyre if she just like stays a human the rest of the time, is basically how I'm feeling. So like I said, I originally thought she was gonna like represent the mortals or something, but now I just feel like since she's so involved in the Fae world that she just has to be like some sort of high Fae status. But she is a human though, obviously, but I think she's supposed to be a queen, like the queen of the Night Court or something like that. Disappointed Feyre found the place under the mountain in like 2 seconds. Like, can we just talk about the writing for a minute? Because I've said this before, but I feel like the writing is just a little bit immature. Literally, I'm just like so scared for Feyre at this point. Like, I'm so scared, and Alice is trying to give her all these clues but still can't tell her things, and she's really afraid for her life. And then it's like 2 paragraphs in, but nothing even happens really in the tunnels, and she finds it immediately, but she's a few courts away, so like she definitely should not have found it that easily. Part of me just feels like Sarah J. Maas just doesn't want to write actual like action, like things happening. I think she wants to write just about characters talking, but when you have your own world, like you really do have to like define it and describe it. So I just hope in the next book there's more, I actually can like really go with the character whenever they're going through something, instead of just like, I need to do this, oh I'm here, you know, type of thing. I just wish there was more like tension built up. I have a theory, it hasn't happened yet, so we'll see. I think Amarantha is going to use Feyre's family in the task or the trials, because we know that she brought Claire back to torture her, and then she lit the house on fire that killed the rest of Claire's house. So I feel like, how could she not, like, now that she knows Feyre's name, she doesn't know her last name, but how could she not, like, I feel like the sisters need to be introduced to the world at some point, so this would be the perfect opportunity, because then the next book, it's more of them like coming to the world. So I feel like Nesta and Elaine will be brought and will be in the trials, and it'll be like a surprise for Feyre. Another theory is that Rhysand will have to stand against her, but will overthrow Amarantha instead. Like, she has to be overthrown at some point, right? I don't think Rhysand is really like her whore or whatever they call him. I think he actually does want to overthrow her, and he's just being really secretive about it so that it works. And then also I had the idea, like, if the sisters aren't used, I feel like Tamlin would be used, because obviously I just feel like Amarantha isn't a very fair person. Like, I just think she's gonna do something, you know what I mean? So if it's not the sisters, if it's not Rhysand, Tamlin could also be used, and you know, Feyre has to like do something with him. It's gonna be something, since she gets to declare the rules, it's gonna be something like super evil. The first task was interesting. It reminded me of the worm from that SpongeBob episode. If you guys know what I'm talking about, I'll put it on the screen here if I can find a picture, but I couldn't think of anything else. I just literally pictured Feyre as SpongeBob running away from this worm. I'll try not to harp on this too much, but the Kingdom of the Wicked comparisons is like driving me crazy, since I just read the series. I just read the second book in that series, and if you haven't, it basically just has a lot of the same tropes, and here it is. Falling in love with captors, deal-making, lying, manipulative, supernatural creatures. Basically, that's what the brothers are. The demon brothers are like Fae. Emilia cooks, that's like her thing. Feyre paints, that's like her thing. A creature that's invisible yet very deadly. It's called an Umbra demon in the Kingdom of the Wicked series, and then here it's called the Bogue or Bogey. Main character constantly asking love interest questions that he vaguely barely answers. Several thrones on the same land governing different areas. So there's 7 princes. This one is 7. Is this one 7 as well? I think it is, right? 8 technically, or like 8 or 9, but going to an underworld. Literally. Bad evil guy wants the girl and is only soft for her. That's definitely gonna happen. And now, at this point when I wrote this, a sleeve tattoo on the main character that matches the man who is powerful, dark, and royal. Literally the same. That actually happens in book 1 in Kingdom of the Wicked. Whenever Emilia accidentally summons Wrath, gets a tattoo that goes down the length of her arm, and she like, it goes from like her collarbone to the length of her arm, and she like can't stand it. And obviously the same exact thing happened here. It's just like, what? Like, it's so many similarities that are just like so wild. I can't wrap my head around it, but I mean, these authors, like, there's just so many tropes they can do, and then they get inspired by each other. So I'm not mad about it. I can't believe no one has said anything about it yet. Like, I've been getting these ideas for TikToks for Kingdom of the Wicked for so long, and I'm like, oh my god, I can use all these for ACOTAR now. I have a feeling the next book will have Rhysand in it a lot, and she'll slowly fall in love, creating a love triangle. I mean, I thought this the moment that we met him, to be honest. There sure are a lot of visitors for someone who's supposed to be a prisoner. That just doesn't make sense to me. She's supposed to be a prisoner, and Amarantha is so evil, yet she's letting all these people visit her and help her. It just doesn't make sense. Basically, Feyre's on the brink of dying like all the time, and people just keep coming and helping her. Really enjoying it. I'll probably update you guys like specifically with my reading for the rest of the book, but I'm in. I'm an ACOTAR girl, okay? I love ACOTAR. I'm a fan. I'm excited to read the next book. It won't be immediately because I have other books to read, but I'm in. I was right. She has to kill Tamlin. She has to either kill herself or kill Tamlin, which was one of my theories, as you know by this point. So yeah. So Tamlin has a heart of stone, so Feyre chose to stab him. Thank God. Not that she stabbed him, because I love him obviously, but thank God there was a loophole. It makes sense that this would happen because just of Amarantha's character, but also what Feyre was saying is right, that she wouldn't want Tamlin to die, because obviously what she ultimately wants more than anything. I just don't understand why Tamlin couldn't have said something or like given her a hint. Like, he's right in front of her and he's just not gonna say anything. Like, it made sense during the other times because he was by Amarantha's side and he's trying to like trick her or whatever, but why couldn't he just like give a hint or a nod or like just tell her to stab him in the heart? Yeah, his silence is really annoying at this point. Obviously, I think good things are gonna come from this now, but I understood his silence at first, but now I'm just like, why? You know? Alright, I know my hair is crazy and I really don't care right now. So Feyre figured out the riddle. It's love. And ironically, I thought for a second when I first came to find out about the riddle, I thought it was love, but I was like, no, that's too easy. I just predict everything. I don't know. But there's a lot about this I haven't predicted. Like, obviously I didn't know there were going to be trials and such in general, and we would even get to meet Amarantha. So Rhysand tries to attack Amarantha, and she's also attacking Feyre, of course, and the book wants me to think right now that she's dead, but I don't believe that, obviously. Tamlin, my boy, finally has his curse broken and kills Amarantha. I'm really surprised she has died, to be honest, because I thought she was going to be the main villain of this series, but there's also the High Lord in Hybern, which he wouldn't have been introduced if he's not going to show up later on. So I'm so happy that bitch is dead, let me tell you. Even after Feyre won, she was going to kill her anyways, which we all kind of expected, which is just, it's so annoying. So basically Feyre can see everything that's happening through Rhysand, so I guess they're just like connected now until the end of time, I don't know. Then all the High Lords come to, I guess, like shed light onto Feyre, and then Tamlin says, I love you, and that's where I'm at right now, so I'm gonna finish it. I have 1 or 2 more chapters left, so pray for me. I'm feeling all sorts of emotions right now, to be honest. So I just started the next chapter, and it says that Feyre has become High Fae, which I'm kind of like, okay, I'm gonna keep reading, but I guess I was right about that as well. So basically, the High Lords can get together and create another High Fae. Must have been what happened. Didn't know they could do that, obviously, and it's a little strange to me. I can't wrap my head around it, how someone can go from human to High Fae. Like, she wasn't even turned into a lesser fairy, she just literally went from human to High Fae, which is what I predicted, but also like doesn't really make sense. Like, she's just all of a sudden a fae now. Like, does she have pointed ears? I don't know, it didn't say. So maybe she still has human ears. Before they leave the cave, of course, Rhys comes and talks to her. We all know where that's gonna go. Still not super invested in him yet. I know that will definitely happen as people talk about him all the time and talk about him in favor all the time, but I personally just love Tamlin. I really do. It's hard for me to get past his silence, but it's also really, really hard for me to get past Rhys drugging Feyre for when they do love each other in the future, because what the fuck. But yes, I have finished it. They finally get to go home, and of course Feyre just keeps talking about the fairies, that she killed those innocent fairies that were sacrificed. So that's definitely going to be a big theme in the next book. The love triangle and her living partially in the spring court and partially in the night court is going to be a big part of the book. But yeah, I'm really excited to read the next one. I'm gonna wait a little bit until I pick it up because there are 2 books coming out in September for series I've already read, but I'm really, really excited about. The last book of the Kingdom of the Wicked series is coming out. Lots of books I want to read, so we'll see when I get to it. It's also a big book. Oh, I also need to read Crooked Kingdom. So anyways, this vlog is probably long enough. Overall, definitely giving this 5 stars. Definitely up and down for me a little bit. Well, not really. I always enjoyed myself, to be honest. I just didn't know where things were going. But once I was in, man, I was into it. I was hooked. So yeah, it's just, I can just tell it's going to be a really great series, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. I'm just sitting here hugging it. I'm going to read the author's acknowledgements next. But yeah, 5 out of 5 stars for me, obviously. I'll write a detailed review. If you want to talk about the ACOTAR series, please leave some comments down below. I will definitely be replying to people. My DMs are always open too. My Instagram is Storribook, my Goodreads is Storribook, and my TikTok is Storribook. Yeah, we can talk about it on there. Please don't spoil me, obviously. Please do not comment anything past ACOTAR. Please, please, please. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this vlog is probably very, very long, but if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, of course, if you feel like it, if you haven't already. And I'll see you on my next one. Bye.